Okay, so today we were starting with a fresh topic called Spring. Okay, so we have in the initial part we have Spring Core. Laga we have Core Java. So the initial part of Spring will be called as Spring Core. So we all are familiar with association, are we? Yes, who can recap what is association?
Has a.
So association is has a relationship, right?
Yes.
So if I take this example of vehicle, and the types of vehicles we have. Okay. It's a car and bus. Okay. So how will you relate these two? Is or has a?
Has a.
Is it? Has a?
Is it?
Has a?
Is a car is a vehicle, bus is a vehicle.
Bus is a. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And where will you draw the arrow? Car is a vehicle.
Upward side. Upward side.
Upward side. Yeah.
And bus is
There
a
is a relationship between a subclass and superclass.
simple inheritance. Is a means
Simple inheritance. Yes.
inheritance. Now if I
Okay.
draw some more classes, let's say engine and gear. So and if I draw the arrow, now how will you read this?
Has a car has an engine, car has a gear.
Association.
Car has a with a capital. Okay, if you are showing in a diagram,
Yes.
capital
Mhm.
has a, and other is called as association. What is this called as?
Association.
And the arrow will go from up to down, right? Car has an engine and okay, so we have BUG and TDS. BU what do we have? BUG and TDS, remember. So BUG means means bottom up. What does BU mean?
Bottom up.
What does
Bottom
TD
up.
mean?
Top down.
Top down, okay. So bottom up is called as generalization. What are we calling?
Generalization.
So if I want to generalize it, so if I say I came in a car, I came by bus. If I want to generalize it, I will say I came by vehicle, right? If I want to generalize that term, so I will say I came by a vehicle, right? So no,
Yes.
people, they instead of saying I bought a Honda City, instead of saying I bought a Honda City, they generalize it by saying I bought a four-wheeler. What they say?
I bought a four-wheeler or bought a car.
What is the four-wheeler and Honda City? Four-wheeler is a generalized term, right?
Yes.
So bottom up is generalized. So instead of saying car, instead of saying bus, you can say vehicle. So this will come for all categories. Even if you have a truck, even if you have a motorcycle, that will consider all the scenarios, right? Vehicle. So vehicle is a generalized term. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So bottom up is generalization and top down is specialization. Okay. So now you are trying to show what all attribute does that car have in going into more detailing. Okay. So if I say I bought a Honda City with a iVTEC engine, okay, whatever 12 liter, I don't know what exactly
1500 horsepower.
liter engine and 1500 horse cc cubic cylinder.
Yes.
So you are now specializing it. So top down BUG TDS. Remember this term. So we have studied inheritance, right? So that has been covered in core Java. Now let's study association. So how do we deal with association in our application? Okay. So that is called as dependency injection. So how do we manage association? How do we manage association?
Dependency injection.
Yes. In a Spring Boot application by dependency injection, that is called as DI. Okay. And who does this DI? This DI is done by the IOC container, inversion of control container. So now the car has a dependency of the engine and the car has a dependency of the gear. So how do I inject this engine object and gear object in the car? That is called as dependency injection. And this task is performed by the entity called as IOC.
IOC container.
IOC container means inversion of control. Inversion of control. Okay. So now what we do is we keep ready-made objects present of all the associated classes. So all the associated classes such as engine and gear, we will have ready-made objects of them. And whenever needed, we will inject those objects in the parent class, let's say. Okay. So what I will do now is I will keep ready-made objects, and those ready-made objects configuration will be in the form of beans. Will be in the form of. So how many beans will I have right now then? How many beans will I have right now? I want to inject engine and car.
Two,
So
sir.
One bean for.
2 beans, engine and gear.
Engine and
I have one bean.
It is used for engine and second one is used for
Second
gear.
bean I'll have for the. So I'll have two like this beans. And beans are in which parent tag?
beans.
It's
Okay.
yes.
So as you have studied HTML, you all should be familiar with the tags. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So like how the body tag contains the sub tags.
Closing brackets and opening brackets. Yes, sir.
Where's
Yes,
the
sir. Everything has an opening and
yeah. So like this, and when you have your customized tags, that file is called as an XML file. It's called as
XML.
it's an extensible markup language. What is XML stands for?
Extensible markup language.
So the X is for extensible. This is the X. And ML you all know, right?
Markup language.
So all this configuration about that object will be in XML file. Okay, you can give whatever name to that XML file. So if you're giving it apple.xml, your wish. But give a sensible name, okay? Give a sensible name like configurations.
Yes, sir. Related to our project.
Yeah,
Like,
bean configuration.xml
yes,
or
sir.
whatever, okay? So give
Yes,
a
sir.
sensible name. Don't give any random name. Now what I will do is I will prepare the configuration of these two, engine and gear, over here. So first I'll have entity classes, okay? That class which is not inheriting any other class, just a simple class called as Pojo, plain old Java object. What is Pojo class?
Object Java.
What is Pojo class? Plain old
Java objects.
Java objects. A class which is just a simple class that is not extending any class. So if I have a class student, is this class student inheriting any class?
No, sir.
It will have its attributes,
Yes.
okay, which we call as properties. What do we
Properties.
attribute as?
Properties.
What all attributes will the student have? Will
S number is
Roll number, name,
student roll
percentage.
number, name,
roll number, private, string,
name.
name, and blah blah blah. As the business logic requires, we can keep on adding the attribute and properties. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what all methods does this have? So let's say if it has a constructor,
Constructor.
no args constructor, all args constructor, it has constructors,
Yes, sir.
then it has setter getters and blah blah blah. Any business logic method like calculating percentage, XYZ, displaying the grade of displaying the class based on the percentage. So if it's more than 70, first class, more than-
Distinction, first class, second class. Yes, sir.
so all that business logic function over here. Okay. So such a class is called as what?
Pojo.
Pojo. At times we eliminate the logic, we will put the logic in the service class. So the business logic comes into the
Yes.
service class. Which class?
Service.
Service
Class.
class contains all the logic. Pojo
Logic.
class will just contain the attributes and the methods. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now I
Yes.
will make two Pojo classes, one for engine and one for
Gear.
gear. Okay. So, and those Pojo classes are put in the model package. Which package?
Model.
Model.
Model. So if your domain is scs.com, so you'll make a package called com.scs. What you will make the package as? Package name will be in the reverse order.
Yes,
And
sir.
then you will make the package name model. And in this model class, you will create the two entity or the model. Some call it model, some call it entity, whatever you feel comfortable. So what are you comfortable with? We'll stick to model class. We'll stick to which class?
Model.
Model class.
Model packages. Okay, so join the model package and I'll create two model classes called as engine and what all attributes will the engine have? Integer.
Number.
So
No.
let's first give the string engine type.
Engine type.
String engine type. And we'll give int capacity. Okay, and then we can give for double price. Okay, and then we'll have the set constructors for this and setter getters, blah blah blah, to string if you all want to. The and setter getters and to string, blah blah. And how many attributes will I have for the gear class? Same, the same package will have the gear class also. So class gear. Okay, then we can also use over here gear type manual or automatic, right? Gear type and gear price. And what next? What? Okay, let's stick to these two. Now, once I made these Pojo classes, the configuration of this Pojo classes will be placed in the beans. Okay, and I can inject the dependency via two ways, via constructor or via the setter methods. How many ways can we inject the dependency?
By using
Two.
a set
Via
and
constructor
constructor.
and via.
Setter method.
Setter.
So this will be called CDI. What will this called as?
CDI.
In-
SDI. Constructor dependency injection and setter dependency injection.
Okay, so let's use constructor dependency injection for engine class and setter dependency injection for gear class. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
if I am using the bean, so the first attribute of the bean will be the class for which I am making the bean. So you have studied HTML, right? So HTML, if you have a font tag, it has attributes, right? Font face, font color, font size. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what is this
Okay.
font? This is the element. This is the,
Element.
and what are face, color, and size?
Attribute.
To
Attributes.
give the value of those in double quotes, right? So if I am keeping
Yes.
And color I want to give red. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And size if I want to keep 12. So I will give like this, correct? So even though
Yes.
12 is an integer, I will still try to give it in a double quotes to maintain uniformity, right?
Yes, sir.
Similarly,
Yes,
over
ma'am.
here, bean
Okay.
is the element. Which is the element?
Font element.
Which is the element over here in XML?
Bean.
And this bean has many attributes. There are around 7 to 8 around attributes. So first attribute is the class for which you are making the bean. And now you have to give the fully qualified name of that class. So what is the fully qualified name of the engine class?
Engine.
Fully qualified name means with the package.
Okay, the package name is model.
Com dot full package name.
SCS dot model.
Com dot SCS dot model.
Yes, sir.
You have to give the fully qualified name of
And
class. Okay. And then you have to give a unique ID with which will identify this bean. So you can use the ID attribute or you can use the name attribute, whichever you feel comfortable. I stick to ID. And I give name equals to, let's say, engine 1. Okay. Whatever name you wish to give, you
E1.
can give.
E1.
Okay, E1. So this will become your bean type.
Okay.
Okay. Now what you are injecting the bean, this where you using CDI, right? For engine we are using,
Yes, constructor.
and for gear we are using.
STI.
If you are using the CDI constructor, then it has a sub argument called as constructor arg. What does it have?
Constructor arg.
That is the child of the bean element. Okay, it is not an attribute, it is a child. It will have what? Constructor hyphen arg. And now if I make a parameterized constructor of this attributes, how will that constructor look like in my application? If I make a parameterized constructor of this over here, how will it look like in my application? Yes, someone? Public?
Public. Engine. String. Int type. Comma. Int capacity and double price. If you want to take a name, same or change.
Yeah, again, let's stick to what the source makes. And
Yes. Double price.
okay.
Yes,
The
sir.
constructor I will
And
make.
after
Then you
we
will
can use
initialize it by this.
this dot
equals to
engine
this.
type equal to ink type.
Yeah, so you all are comfortable with this, right?
And
I don't want to go into
Yes, sir.
So
yes,
this
sir.
dot engine type. So my only concern,
Equal to engine type
only
semicolon
concern
and
over here is you have to follow this order while giving the
yes,
constructor
sir.
args. You have to follow this, which is the first argument.
Engine type.
You have to say over here constructor arg and give value for that. So which engine type you want? Let's say I want DTSI engine, digital fuel spark ignition.
Okay, we can insert the directly value, sir.
Yeah, directly value with following the order. Okay.
Okay.
And close the constructor arg. Open the constructor arg and close the constructor hyphen arg. We all know what is opening and closing tag in.
Yes, sir.
Just follow the same style. Making sense?
Yes, sir.
Then what will second line will be?
Capacity.
As you type con,
Okay.
hit control space bar. Hit what?
Control is space bar.
Yeah, so it will make all this setting for you. So as you type con and hit control space bar, it will give you this structure. So you just have to make the amendments. It will give you this. All you have to do is just add the value to it. So now what value will you be adding? So capacity, let's say I want a 12-liter engine. So I'll give 12 in double quotes. Will I give 5,000 over here as the price? Will I give 5,000 as a second argument as price? Instead of giving 12, will I give the price over here?
Control space bar, whatever you say,
No,
shortcut
instead of
key.
giving the capacity as a second argument, can I give price as a second argument?
No.
Why no?
The border is not following.
Because it's int, sir. So we have
First one is
to
Right,
give.
integer
this
type,
1000
We
second
have
capacity,
engine
and
type,
price.
capacity, and then double
Yeah,
price.
for the
Yes, sir.
IoT constructor. If you want to give the price as second, then make the changes over here also.
Changes over here also. Yes, sir.
Shuffle them over here. So now
Right.
I have made the bean for this Pojo class. Now, whenever my car will need an object of the engine, my car will not create the object like this. My car will not say engine, E1
New.
is new engine.
Yes, sir.
It will not use the new keyword to initialize the object. It will directly ask the IOC container that please give me an engine bean. Please give me an engine bean. And you have to specify the ID, which engine bean you need. Okay, so we can have multiple engines over here. We can have multiple engines. So this is one engine which is your
Need the
DCS,
E1,
container
E2,
plus.
E3, E4.
blah blah
Exactly.
blah. It's n number of engines you can. So this is one engine. Then you can make one more engine, E2, and you can give different configurations for that. So as this is a user-defined class, we can make a user-defined bean. For built-in classes, there are lots of built-in beans present. Okay, and then here it might have IVTech engine and blah blah blah, whatever. As it is our Pojo class, we can specify whatever values we want to give. But in real world, if we are using an inbuilt class, then that inbuilt class bean will be also inbuilt, right? So IOC container will manage all that for you. We don't have to create the object. We will just demand for the object. So now the programmer task is relieved. Programmer is relieved of the task of object creation. Okay, so let's say there is a person, okay, and he cooks for himself daily. And now let's say his mother has come to meet him. Now will he cook that day? So that day he is relieved from the task of cooking, right? Because someone else is taking care of that activity. So all this while we were using new keyword to create objects in the application. Now we will not be using the new keyword. Now we will delegate that task of creating of object to whom? To the
IOC controller.
now this chap will only directly tell his mom, mom, I need food. And the mom will prepare the food and give it to him. Correct? So mom is the IOC container and she's injecting food into that person. So now we will just order the IOC container. So we have an annotation called as auto wired. What annotation we have?
Auto wired.
Auto wired. So now whenever I want an object of any class, I will just auto wire it. So let's say I'm doing some scanning work and I want object of scanner. I will say scanner SC semicolon. And what have I told? The IOC container, please give me the bean which you have for the scanner class. So now as it is a built-in class, there will be some built-in bean present for it. And you will get the values from that built-in bean to this object. Am I being understood of what I'm telling, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We
What-
got it.
what-
Auto
what
wired.
did I tell? What did I tell? What is the meaning of auto wire? What is the task of auto wire?
It will give you ready-made objects, sir, for built-in classes.
When will
Like
it give object? On demand. So you have to
on demand.
by saying auto wired. What is your, so you have to, whenever that kid wants food, he will say to his mom,
Yes,
right?
sir.
He will.
Yes.
So like if you want to place an order on Swiggy, if you don't want to if you don't want to cook and you want to use Zomato or any of the food delivery app, you have to place an order, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the
Yes.
placing of order is called as,
Auto
Auto
wired.
wired.
and who will deliver you the food? The vendor. The whichever app you are using, he will deliver the food to your doorstep, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So this object will be delivered to you by whom then?
IOC
IOC
container.
container.
There will be some bean of scanner class in your config file, right? Like how we have over here. And as it is an inbuilt class, there will be an inbuilt bean by this nature somewhere. So try to understand the concept.
So we will use that auto wired in many places. Instead of
Yes,
SC, we can use it somewhere
yes,
else as well.
yes, that is
Just
what
to get that data from bean.
correct. So now there will be some bean inside by java.util.scanner, and there will be some ID to it. Now I don't know if that is it is an inbuilt class. So we'll have an inbuilt ID, which I don't know what it is, but the container knows. So now whenever I will ask for the scan object, it will give me this bean. So like there are millions of beans present. So beans, you know what is a bean bag? You have heard of what is a bean bag?
Yes, it
What is
contains
bean bag?
bean and we can take rest over that.
Yeah, so there are millions of thermocol balls inside, right? Which form that sofa.
Yes, beans, yes.
Like this, you have millions of beans in your application, which whenever you want to use, you can auto wire them. So auto wire is demanding for that object instead of creating that object by the programmer. Understood?
Yes.
So as these are my own classes, own Pojo classes, I am creating my own beans. As scanner is not my own class, it is an inbuilt class, there will be an inbuilt bean. Understood?
Yes.
I will get this is the main concept of Spring. Auto wiring forms the backbone. You have to understand auto wiring. Okay, so like this, you can use your constructor args to create your bean. And if you want to use setter getter, if you want to use setter to generate the beans, so what you can do is give the fully qualified name. So now if I want the gear object via setter, so what will I give over here? What will I give over here? The fully qualified name of that class, and give whatever ID, unique ID I want to give to that bean. So let's say I give it as G1. Now what attribute do I want to set for the gear class, guys?
It's gear type and price, sir.
And I want to set it via what? A setter. Setter, right?
Setter.
Yes, sir,
Setter
setter.
uses the sub property, sub tag called as property. Called as what?
Property.
Property. Okay. And property, you have to give the name as the attribute name. Same,
Yes.
same spelling. What is the first
Yes.
attribute name?
Gear type.
With a small g and capital T, correct?
Yes, sir.
So give that same name over here. Gear type. So this is the property I want to initialize. And what value you want to give to it now? So open tag and close tag. Okay. As you type PRO and control spacebar, it will give you the option. Just type PRO and give what?
Control space bar.
Will give you the option. So don't need to worry about that. And now inside this property, what gear type you want? Automatic or manual?
Manual.
So give value over there. Value tag. This will be your what?
Similar like HTML.
Yeah, it's really similar. Okay. And now next property, what you have to set? So this is one property, right? I don't have space. I'm writing it.
Yes, capacity.
I have for the space crunch. I'm writing it one besides the other. You write it one below the other.
Yes,
Yes,
that is
sir.
fine.
And the next will be what? Same to same. Okay, the spelling and the type should be same.
Yes, sir.
Price.
And then value, whatever value you wish to give. Let's say 9,000. So now I have the configuration of these two Pojo classes in my bean. Now, whenever I will tell the IOC container, give me a bean, I will just say of this ID, E1 or G1, and it will give me the configurations from here, and I will create the object with these values. Okay. So let's
Yes, sir.
start.
E1 and G1, then auto wired.
Auto wired is later on. Auto wired is, so if I'm teaching you all A, B, C, D today, so today I have taught
Yes.
you B, C. Okay. So auto wire will be, let's say, XYZ. Okay, so
Okay.
that will come at the end. I just gave you a hint what is going to come.
Okay, okay.
So let's go step by step. So auto wire will be later on in the series, auto wire will come.
Yes, sir.
That is what is the actual usage. Okay, so when in school we were taught to write an essay. So we were first taught A, B, C, D. Then we were taught to make 3-letter words: Tom, cat, dog. And then we were asked to make sentence. My name is blah blah blah. Then we were made to write paragraph. And then we were able to write essays, right? So essay is your auto wire.
Yes.
This is what actually we want to achieve. But I directly cannot teach you writing an essay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm teaching you first A, B, C, D, then 3-letter words, then sentences, then paragraphs. Then they will come directly to auto wire. And once you get to know auto wire, then no need to do all this. Once you start writing an essay, then you will never write A, B, C, D, right? Directly you write the essays only.
Yes.
So directly now, once we get to know what is auto wire application, directly we will use auto wiring only. We will not use all this constructor args and all that. It's just for understanding purpose. Okay, so let's get going and try to make our application. So I had sent you all some jar files, right? We'll be needing them, external jars.
Yes, sir.
So let me go and create a new application file, make a Java application, okay? So if it is not showing over here, directly go to project and choose from here Java project. And what I'll tell is SCS first string. I'm using JDK 1.8 as my default over here. You all can change it if you all wish to. And the core Java project is ready, SCS Spring Bean. Okay. So first and foremost, download those jar files which I had sent you all. So if you all have downloaded them, so if I share my screen to you all, so I have downloaded them. Okay. So let's extract them. How I extract is I copy the RAR file into a plain folder so that I get to know all the files. So I go and make a new folder, Spring jar, and never give a space in a folder. Never. If you want to separate them by a hyphen, but never give a space between a folder. So I guess I put them Spring jar, and in Spring jar I paste that RAR file and I extract it over here by going to WinRAR and extract here. So I've got this folder. In this, the logging is not there. There is a logging file also. Okay. So for that, I have copied that explicitly. So I'll just copy that logging from here and paste it where we have extracted this in the modules file. Which file? And I paste it. Okay. No need to for this one. You can remove that. So far, so good. And now we have to import this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's just import the top 5. Let's just import the top 5. So if you want only these files, I can send you them only. So if you don't want the rest, but we'll need it, better we keep that. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I go right click on my application, go to build path, configure build path, and I go to libraries and I add external jars. Okay. Or you can create a library with those 5 files and then add that library whenever you all wish to. That also can be done. So you all can form a library. That library will be stored in your Eclipse with those 5 jar files. And in future application, just add that library. No need to every time go and add the external jars. So I'm doing it by add external jars. Whenever I save them in my D drive and Spring jars, extracted folder, disk, modules. Which all files? Okay. Open. Apply and close. This much is sufficient. And now go and make your application structure. Okay. So go to your SRC, right click. For the main, I will have a driver app package. Main will always be in which package? Which package will main be in?
Driver app package, sir.
So let's make the package.
Driver package.
So right click, new and package. So what? Form dot SCS dot. You can just say app also. You can say what? What is the package name which will have the main method?
Driver app,
Driver.
Whatever app or even app will do or application will do whatever. I'm keeping it 80.
yes.
And the Pojo classes will be in which package?
Inside the,
So right click on that existing package. On
yes,
the
sir.
newly created package, right click and say new package. So you
Package.
get the package name, just remove the app and write what?
Model.
Model. Okay. So com.scs dot models. Now we have two packages. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
now to add the XML file, make a folder. Because that is a file, right? Class will be in a package and file will be in a
Folder.
folder. So make a folder.
Folder, make a folder. Yes.
SRC. Right click on the SRC. Okay. To make this folder, right click on the SRC, new and folder, and name the folder as resources. How will you name it? Understood with these three skeletons?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now
sir.
go to the app and make a class which will have your main method. So whatever name you wish to give. Okay, so I'll give it as driver app and I will check the main method. So far, so good.
Yes, sir.
And now to your Pojo classes, right click. Which is Pojo class you want to make first?
Engine.
Engine. Okay, now what
Yes.
attribute you want to set to the engine?
In
Private integer.
private.
What were the attributes? Attributes were string engine type, right?
Yes, engine time, capacity and price. Yes.
Engine type, incapacity, double price. So correctly come to that.
Yes, sir.
So string,
String, engine type,
engine type. Next,
string, capacity,
incapacity, and
price, double price.
okay,
Yes,
you will
sir.
be injecting this using constructor, right?
Yes, sir.
Right click, source, and
Constructor.
generate constructor using fields. Check all of them and generate. And remove the super. There is no super class as of now.
Because, yes, sir.
And to display the
because-
details, we'll have the toString function. What will we have?
To string function.
Simple as that. Source and generate toast. Okay, this much is sufficient.
Sir, we want getter also, no?
Why would you, when you are having toString, you will just display directly will
Yes,
pass
yes.
to the
Get no need to getter. To string.
getter. If you want to do individual fetching, I want to fetch individually the engine type, individually the capacity, the price. You can do that if you want.
Right, sir.
But okay, if needed, we will add whenever we need that. Okay, next, which model class will we make?
Gear.
Gear.
Yes, sir.
And what are the attributes of gear?
Type.
The type and
Manual.
Price.
Price.
so private string gear type and private double, right? And now we will inject this with SDI, right? So if you skip the constructor is all right. So what will you make over here?
Setter.
Generate. But I want to select only what? Only setters, right?
Setter. Setters, sir. Yes.
And then to display, I will use what? ToString.
To a string. Yes.
Am I understood? Now let's add the configurations of them in the bean file. So in the resources folder, right click and go to
XML.
file, new file, and whatever name you wish to give. Okay. So you can say my config dot
Dot
XML
XML. Yes.
dot.
XML.
Now you have to add the detail. So this is the design. Go to the source. Go to the source. And now the first two lines you have to copy from here. So go to that folder which we just extracted. You will see the folder.
Yes. Module.
Go to resources
Resources. Okay.
and DTD file. Which file?
Where is it?
DTD, document type definition XML file. This 2.0. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right click on it and open with Notepad++ and line number 36 and 37. Line number,
Okay. 36 and 37.
copy this line. Okay, don't copy the comments. Just copy this line and paste it as the first line of your config file. Am I understood?
Sir, can you show me again, sir? How do you copy it?
So I went to
Yes, sir. 36 and 37 doc
go
base.
to your
Okay, sir.
active
Got it.
folder, go to dist, go to resources and the DTD file, document type definition 2.4.
Yes, sir.
Right click it, open it Notepad++, scroll till the
Yes.
36, 37, copy it and paste it over there.
Okay, sir. Got it. Sprint
Okay. And now you have to
DTD
create your parent tag. So what is a parent tag?
beans.
Beans. Okay.
Yes.
Beans, yes.
It is giving you a hint. Double click it, it will give you the open and closing. Okay, come down. In this, I have to make a bean tag, right? So if I just give BE and control space bar. Okay. Making
Yes.
sense?
Yes, sir.
Now which
Yes.
bean you will make? So give the class. So what is the
Class.
class for engine? What is the
Constructor.
class?
Constructor, no?
What is the fully qualified name for the class engine?
Com.
So go to the engine class and copy it from the top, so that there is
Yes.
no spelling mistake.
Okay, sir.
And double quotes. Always values in double quotes everywhere. And copy the name from here. Do not try to write it, just copy and paste it, because then there will be no spelling mistakes. Okay. And
Yes, sir.
what ID you want to call it?
E1. Anything.
And you are injecting this via constructor.
CDI. Yes.
So just open a sub tag and say CON control space bar.
Yes, sir. It will.
CON control. Got it? Constructor args.
Yes.
And then what are the, you should know the sequence of them in the sequence of them in the constructor. What is the sequence? Engine type, capacity, and price, right?
Price.
So now tell what value you want to give. So engine type, okay. Copy this, paste it, engine type. Next was engine type
TC, capacity.
capacity, let's say 12-liter capacity, and price, let's say 5,000, right? All in double quotes, all in this. And
Double quotes.
next, what bean you want to make? Okay, if you want to make one more bean, okay, I want to make up another engine also. So you can give it a new name, E2, and you can give it other details also. Okay. Blah, blah. So they both are of the same class, but two different IDs. Next, which bean we want to make?
Is
Yes. Of gear, right?
yes, sir.
So make a bean.
Bean class.
Copy this same for that also.
Yes.
The class name will change over here, right?
Here an ID will change.
And we can give the attribute as,
G1. Yes.
and we are injecting that using setter.
Setter for
Setter.
properties.
Type PRO. So you got property, double click it, and it
Yes,
will open
sir.
up. This is the first property. So you have to copy this, okay?
Here type. Yeah.
Copy that. And then over here in the property, we'll have a value element. What element? Value. So what value you want to give to it? Value, correct? Then go outside property again. Property. What is the name? Second one. Price, right? What value you will give to it? Let's say 25. Make sense, guys? All good? Now go to your driver app,
Yes.
and now we'll make the IOC container, okay? So we have two types of IOC containers, core container and J2EE container. So what are the types of IOC containers?
J2EE.
And so we have one core container,
4. Yes. 4 container.
core container and
J2EE container.
core container. Okay, so the class for that core container is XML bean factory, which is the class XML bean factory. And the next one is, which is better than this, is J2EE container. And what is the class for that? Who remembers? Class path. Remember we had made a class last time around? Class path XML application context. What is it?
Class path XML.
Application.
Okay, so if you're using this class, then you're using the core container. If you're using this class, you're using the J2EE container. Okay, this core container will read the XML file as a form of a resource. We'll read it in what form? As an argument, as which type? Resource. And this will read the bin file as a string file, as a string argument. Which argument?
String.
So if I pass the argument as a string, the entire path of the file, okay, then you can use this. And if you want to pass, if you're using core container, then you have to make a resource object first, pass the path of that XML file to the resource, and pass the resource object to this factory. Okay, so let's do one by one. So first let's use the core container. So let's use the resource object. Use SOURCT. Resource, whatever name you want to give to the resource, is new. Okay, class path resource. What do we call it as? Class path resource. And now give the fully qualified name of this. So which is the folder name? What is the file name?
myconfig.xml.
Okay, and import this Control-Shift-O. Both have been imported. Now let's use the core container. So I'll make an object of bean factory. new XML bean factory and resource RES, and who will point to it? The reference of the parent, is the bean factory. So we have discussed, right? A parent resource, the parent reference can point to child class object, correct? The bean factory is the parent, not RES will give factory, whatever what we can use.
XML bean factory or also bean factory, sir.
Yeah, so this is the child, this is the parent. I'm keeping the parent reference pointing to the child object. Okay. Now with this factory, I will just get the bean whenever I want to. So I say factory dot get bean. Now if I say get bean E1, it will give me bean of which class? Which class bean will it give me? E1 is of which class?
Engine.
Indian class.
Engine. So I will
A1 is
typecast,
engine.
I will typecast it to that. And then I can point it to any of the engine reference. Okay. So if I say engine, my engine is this, whatever name. As this is a different package imported, Control Shift O. And now if I want to display this engine object, I can directly say sysout. And as I have two string, I can directly pass the entire object as an argument. So two string will convert this object to a string and display the object for me, right? Run as Java application and check if you are getting that output. Got it?
Yes, sir. I will take.
And if I say E2 now, we'll get what is E2 is which engine? ETSI, 18 and 8000.
18 and 8000. Yes.
Right click, run as Java application. This is your DTS. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
We do practice, sir.
now if I want to use the gear, then yes, guys, understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
So this is as simple as that. So now no need to create objects with the new keyword, directly fetch it from the factory. So like this, what all can we also inject?
STI, sir.
We have done SDI, no?
Dependency inject.
So like this, you can inject any type of. Okay, now if I want to put this engine and gear in a car, okay. So now see what is the difference. Okay, for this you should understand what is the type of data. What are the data types, categories, guys? Who will tell me? Two categories of data type.
Primitive and non-primitive.
Perfect. Absolutely. So data categories of data types. There are two main categories. One is,
Primitive,
and next is
Primitive and non-primitive.
non-primitive.
non-primitive. Okay. So your integer character float come in where?
Integer, float,
Primitive. Primitive.
primitive data types.
Okay. Let
Yes,
your array also come in this. Let your array also come in this. And non-primitive are your
Non-primitive,
objects. Are your objects. Let string also come in the primitive.
Sir,
So integer, character, float, string, and array are in which category?
Sir, string or
Primitive.
Primitive.
non-primitive, sir, string or array.
Yeah, we for string these
Yes.
considered in the primitive category,
Consider, yes.
and objects will come in the non-primitive category. So
Yes.
if I make array list, it will come in
Yes.
is the
Non-primitive.
object or it is primitive.
Right, sir.
So your list, your set, your map,
Mm.
Map.
and your POJO objects, they are
Yes.
which type?
Non-primitive.
Non-primitive. Okay?
String, sir.
Hmm?
String is also considered in non-primitive also, no, sir?
Consider it as primitive, or it is built-in object sort of. String is
Okay,
considered as
so-
primitive, okay.
Okay.
Now in Spring we call them as simple. Primitive we call them as what? Which type? And non-primitive we call them as what type?
Object.
Got it? So when I mean simple types, I'm injecting an integer, character, float, a string, or an array. When I say non-primitive type, I'm trying to inject a list, set, map, or a POJO object. So now, what all have we been injecting all this
Actually,
while?
ask question is a string is which kind of data type, then what we say that
You can call as primitive type. Okay?
primitive type.
Yes, primitive. So now, what type of data have we been injecting all this while?
So primitive type, all that.
Only primitive, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, like if I want to inject an array also, then now if I want to inject an array also, array will also be in what type? So if I say
Primitive.
manufacturers
Right.
of that gear, so what is that?
Array.
Array, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, and we are using setter injection, right? So I have to add one more setter to this, which is that
Sir, use.
okay. And I have to change the toString now because as we have added one more thing, I have to change the toString. So I remove the word existing toString, right click, go to source and generate a new toString, which will have the manufacturers also. Now, if I want to inject manufacturers of this via the setters, so I'll come here. So now, what one more property I have to add, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Correct.
So, what is the name of the property?
Maybe, sir. List.
Name of the property,
Property. MFG.
MFG, right? And
Yes.
now it is a single value or list of values.
Multiple values.
Multiple values.
Now give one more word, list. And in
List.
that list, now give the values.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if there is a company called as Google, which is making that, and there is company called as Microsoft, which is also making that. There is company called as SCS, which is also making that. So the values will be injected from where now? Values will
PCs.
be injected from where? From this, right?
Yes, sir.
So now if I go back, I don't know why this starts to corrupt and show a red line over here for no reason. This is syntactically perfect. Control Shift F formatted looks perfect to me. Suddenly
Sir,
this tab gets fixed over here.
on this line, red line.
Yeah, you can try to eliminate that by using Project Clean. So if it eliminates, well and good. But I don't see any reason for it to come because they're syntactically perfect. Now let's try to run the application. But now we are using the gear, right? So I want to display the gear object now. So what will we do? Which B navigating? Which B navigating?
Increase of gear
G1.
G to double E.
What type?
Gear.
Point to it by gear class. I'll change the reference to my gear and
My gear.
as it's a different class, import it. Control Shift O will import it. So right click, run as Java application. What happened? Line 32 in your config file. Did I mess up over there? Property. So I didn't close the property. I did not close the property over here, right?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now makes sense.
Yes, sir.
That is why it was pointing at error out. So now I go to driver app again, right click, run as Java application. Now what happened to it? MFG, invalid property MFG is not writable or has invalid setter. Has invalid setter? Where is this? Here, didn't I put a setter for that? Set price. Oh,
So we
wrote-
create
what we wrote? We have put
getter.
setter MFG, right?
Yes, sir.
Generate setter, right? Select setters.
Getter. Yes, sir.
Okay. Right click, run as Java application.
Yes.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Google, Microsoft.
Now let's try to inject this. Now let's do association example. Let's do example of association. So I will require a bigger entity, the parent entity, which is that.
Car.
So that means has a, right?
Yes, sir. Has
Who
a
will have an engine? Who will have a gear?
car. Car has a engine.
Car.
Car has.
Along with engine and gear, what will the car have? The car, what attributes will the car have? The car will have an integer registration number, let's say. Correct?
Yes.
The car will have a manufacturer name. Yes.
Yes, sir.
The car will have a model.
Okay. Yes, sir.
The car will have year of release, which year the car was released, right? Year of launch, okay? Along with that, what else will the car have? Along with that, what else will the car have? Guys, be a bit proactive. I'm not seeing any energy from you guys. Along with all those, what will the car have? Along with the model and manufacturer and year of launching, what else will the car have?
Yes.
The car will have an engine and will have a gear. Car will have a
Engine and gear.
so private engine, okay, engine and private gear. So do you see association example in this? Do you see a has a? Do you see a has a in this? Am I talking to the walls over here?
No, no, sir. Yes, sir.
So where do you
See.
see the example of association in this 6-7 lines?
Line number 9 and 10.
Yes, so this means car has a engine, and engine is a Pojo class over here, and car has a
Car has a gear.
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 Okay, now from all these 6 attributes, which are simple and which are object? Yep, This is
Sir,
this is
line number 9 and 10 are objects, and the
what is this?
rest of
This is simple, right?
simple. Yes, sir.
And manufacturer name,
Simple.
model,
Simple.
year of release,
Also, and they both are objects.
gear, okay. If I want to tell you the history of owners, okay, who all bought this car earlier, and if I say private string owner history, before me who had this car and before him who had the car, what is that now? Array, correct?
Simple. Array
What is that now?
also come under simple. Yes.
Simple, right? But array also comes into simple.
Yes, sir.
And now I want to inject this using, let's say, setters. So what will I do? Source,
Source generate
select
setters.
setters and generate. I have setter for each attribute, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if I want to display them, right click, source,
So
generate
string
and generate.
generate. Yes.
All good.
Yes, sir.
So now if I want to make a bean for this, how will you make a bean? Tell me. Come on, guide me. So I make a new bean. Tell me.
And first give the proper class name.
What is the proper class name? So class equals to double quotes. Go to
Yes.
your class. Go to the first line.
Yes. com.scs.model. What is the name?
myconfig.xml.
My corporate SMS. I don't know which planet she is on. She's living in a different planet, I
No,
guess.
no, car.
Okay. And now ID will be, let's say, C1.
C1. Yes.
So this is my bean.
Yes, sir.
I'll be injecting these elements via setter.
Constructor.
I'll be having a property for each of them.
Setup. Okay. Yes, sir.
Property. So which is the first property we have? First property we have
Reg number, registration number,
the number, right?
values,
So property name
property names.
equals to,
Reg,
and the single number will just put a value, right?
yes, sir.
So registration number, let's say 1109. It's not whatever number.
Yeah.
Next, I just copy this property now. Next will be, in this, no need to give the proper order, okay? This you can play around with the orders. The constructor, you have to give the proper order. This you can
Yes.
give any random, but let's stick to it.
Yes,
Manufacturer.
sir.
So will
Yes.
be
Manufacturer name.
Audi. Okay.
Okay, sir. Model number.
This
Then
is, that is going to say incorrect spelling. Now forget about it. Next is,
model.
you have the proper date spelling and the font. So
Yes, sir. Model.
okay, let's say model. See, model will conflict with the package name over here, right? At times. So do not,
Yes.
no,
Yes, sir. So we will give other. Yes, model number.
model number. So now make
Yes, sir.
changes in the setter also. Do not hit the axe on your own leg by giving such generalized variable names. So we'll say model number, okay? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So now what is the attribute? Model number. So I go to my config.
Model number.
Okay, so model number, let's say Q3.
Sir, you wrote model only.
Okay.
Model number. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Q3. Now next is
Next,
year of launch. Which
Yeah.
year was Q3 launched? Let's say 2015.
okay, 2015. What next?
Now next, what are the owner history?
Owner history.
Okay, so let's say before me Alice had and before Alice Ben had. So should I give Alice Ben like this? Should I give Alice Ben like this?
No, sir.
Then how will we give it? As a
First,
list. As a
list.
list. And we'll give the values in the list.
List. Yes, sir.
So before me who had and before him who had. So first Alice and then okay. Now this is the fun part over here. Okay, here is what you have to understand. How to pass the objects. How to pass the objects.
Object.
You have to understand. Property close. Now which is the next property? What is the next property name?
I think
Engine, right?
engine.
So property name engine. And objects are primitives are called by value, not primitives are called by reference. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Primitives are
Call by value and the non-primary call by
called
reference.
by
Reference. Yes, sir. So we will use
by
here
value.
reference of.
So we were using call by value. So we were using value over here.
Yes.
And now when you will have call by reference, what will you use?
Reference, sir.
You'll use what? Reference. What will
Yes.
be reference? Okay. So here what you will use is and which am I referring to? Which engine am I referring to? So use which engine you want? E1 or E2?
E1.
Give
Yes.
that reference over here.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Reference of
E1. Same for E2. Okay.
1 second. Huh? So how do we give a reference time? Okay, you don't have to give like this reference. You have to give property name as engine and directly give a reference as over here. Reference as
Ref E1. Okay, sir.
and close the property on the same line. Making sense? Then next, what do we have to inject? Next, what do we have to
Gear.
So what have we named it?
Gear, sir.
And we'll
G1.
from there
G1.
in this G. Got it? So this is
Yes.
how to inject the dependency. So if you're using primitives, you can get the values. Non-primitive directly, you can pass the reference over here. Okay?
It is more easy, sir.
Hmm?
Directly pass here in one line.
Hmm?
It is more easy.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Engine, ref.
Development has been made very easy using Spring Boot. You will yourself see. You have done coding in core Java. Now, when you do coding in Spring Boot, you will yourself realize that they have made life very, very, very easier for the developer. 90% easier.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So, now, okay, all good. Now I want this car object. So what will I come? I will come to driver app and say what I want object of which class. Now which object?
Car.
Now which object do you want now?
Car objects, sir.
So which is the reference of that? What is the ID?
C1.
So what changes do I have to make over here? C1
Yes.
is a what type?
Car.
Control Shift O. And now pass what?
My car.
And now run that. So now you will see that all the configuration has been fetched from there. What happened? Why is that my car showing a problem? Equal to, right?
Yes, sir.
Run as Java application. Now all the details of the car will be fetched from here, and it is asking model number. No property model number. Why? Where model number was in car, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Model number.
model number, right? MODLENNO, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the my config. And
Here.
manufacturer model number is there, right? Or is there any
Yes, sir.
setter getters for that? All getters setters are there or not? So is there a setter for registration number, setter for manufacturer,
Yes, manufacturer
setter for
model.
model, setter for what
Model.
is being
Model number. Yes, sir.
correct?
Correct. Line number 20.
That is
Model
what you are
number
not
it
able to
should
go to.
be.
Setter for
Yes,
model.
sir. Got it.
That's why you know what you do, delete all the setters and make fresh setters.
Make fresh setup.
Now it is loaded the file, the car with registration number 101101, manufacturer is Audi, model is Q3, year of launch was 2015, previously owned by Alice and Ben, and engine type, this is the engine, iVTEC and capacity 12, right? And this is the gear it is having. And these are the manufacturers of that gear. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
So you realize how it is doing the dependency injection and fetching the data from the configuration file instead of we providing the details. So our main class is very neat and clean, correct? Who's understanding what has been taught over here?
Yes, sir.
Concept, what is being taught over here? Okay, now I inject the list and set. How do we inject the list and set now? So list and set. So if in the car I go and I want some list also. So list will be in what? So there will also be an object, right?
Yes.
The
Non-private.
list will be what? If I say private list of what do you call as list? List in the car, what all multiple values, that attribute which can have multiple values in a car. That attribute which can have multiple values in a car. Any attribute which has multiple values.
Music system.
No music system. Okay, let's say list of in a car which has multiple values. List of okay, list of places I have been with this car. Okay, simple. List of what? List of cities I have been with this car. List of cities I have traveled. Cities traveled. Which all cities this car has traveled. Okay. The list I'll import from which package? Util, right? So this is object or simple
Objects, sir.
object. Okay. And any attribute which one more attribute which has more value, more than one value. So we can take example of set also. How to inject a set. List of cities traveled and list of insurance vendors I have changed. Okay. How many insurance vendors I have changed in of this car? So earlier my insurance was from XYZ company, then I switched to ABC company, then I switched to PQR company. So set also will take it from util. This also is the object or simple
Object, sir.
object, right? Now how do I add them? The first make setters for them, correct?
Yes, sir.
To make setters for which two properties now?
List or set.
Generate setters. For only cities traveled and
Insurance vendors. Yes.
and select setter. I want only
Sir,
for two, right?
You only for two. Yes, sir. Cities and
Can we just set cities? Okay, I'm taking only and
insurance.
set insurance vendors. Okay,
Yes. Generate.
I generate. So I get them. Why get? Okay, set. Where is that?
Below, I guess.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Set cities travel insurance and set insurance
Why
vendors.
why is that? Why is that? Did I select all when I did set and getter? Did I
No,
select?
sir. You only two. You select only two.
No, that I know. But when I was making the first file, did I select the getters also along with the setters?
Maybe.
While creating the first setters, I got limit the getters also. Okay, getters were not
Yes.
required for this case.
Mm.
So you can keep it or comment it your wish. Get. So it was not required. If you want to keep it, delete it, your wish. But now I have set cities and set insurance vendors. Okay. Now are they added to the toString? Cities and insurance vendors.
No, sir.
So make a fresh, delete the existing toString and make a fresh.
Two strings.
Okay. And now how will we add them to the config file? Just the same way we add arrays, the same way
Yes. List.
we add list. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what will that be?
Property name.
This one, right?
Yes, sir. Property name.
Copy it and tell me what is the property name? What is the property name?
Cities traveled. Yes.
And let's say I have been to Jaipur, Delhi, and Pune. Make sense? And next, what is it? Insurance vendors I have changed. Okay. Copy the proper attribute name. Okay. So I had ICI first, then I had any vendors,
Bajaj.
Bajaj, and then I had, let's say, HDFC. Okay. All good?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. And now if I run this, why is this causing a problem? What is the problem with? Now it has suddenly gone to beans. Why did I paste it outside the bean?
No, sir. It's inside.
Yes, I pasted outside the bean. See, you have pasted them outside the bean, right? They are part of
Okay.
this bean. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
They should have been inside this bean tag. Correct?
Yes.
That is what it is asking. Now all good.
Yes, sir.
You can format it. Control Shift F. You will format it. Now it will show you that they all are part of this bean. Now let's go to the driver app. Run it. and it will show you all the details with the history of insurance vendors and with the history of all the cities you have traveled. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I want to do a setting in such a way that I will have to make it mandatory to give only the simple attributes. Okay, and I will make it optional to give the objects. Like, okay, then okay, if I also have, let's also have map also. No, let's take the map example also. You have taken array, you have taken
List.
list and set.
List
Let's take a map.
set.
Okay, so any map object you all want to give me? Okay, I will take any random object then now. Okay, so I'll take a map of string and string. Okay, and I will name it as Bollywood. So, and I will keep in this. I will store the name of the husband and wife of Bollywood actors. Control Shift O. Now generate a setter for this also. Correct. So go to source, generate setters, getters, and I go to Bollywood and I say only I want a setter. Generated, and I want to add them to the toString, wipe out the existing toString, and make a fresh toString. So now how do we inject a map? So go to the config file. Now what is the new property?
Bollywood.
Property name as Bollywood, right?
Yes, sir.
I want other.
Copy the same
Other.
name.
No need to just copy the attribute. Okay. So
Yes.
I think better we copy it.
Config.
Now this is a what type of data?
Object.
What type of data? List, set, or map?
Map, sir.
So list. So how we have list, similarly we have
Map.
Map.
map. Okay. So we have list and map. Now we have a entry. What do you have? Put is called as entry. You know, hash map dot put, right? Not add.
Okay,
That is
right,
called
sir.
as entry. An entry has a key value. Entry has a
Key value.
so okay. Just if I just say ent entry, and if I say key, okay, and value. So entry has a key and value. So let's give an entry. So let's say Kajol. So let's the key as the wife and value as the husband. Make sense? Similarly, one more.
Ranbir Alia.
Okay. So this is how you can inject a map also.
Yes, sir.
So now all has been set, and the car has Bollywood also. I've added a setter for Bollywood, and we've added that to the display also. So now let's go and run our application, and you will see that it is fetching me those details also. Okay,
Yes, sir.
correct. So we can inject, and this is in which category is this now? This is which category? Object or simple?
Object, sir.
Object. Okay. Now, if I want to make it mandatory that I should only add the simple attributes and not the objects. Now I have to give the configuration for simple, compulsory. An object, I want to keep it as optional. Okay. Then for that, we have an attribute called as dependency check. We have what?
Dependency check. Okay,
Go to my car, the bean. So how many attributes of the bean have you studied so far? Class and ID, correct? The one attribute is dependence. Just type DEP and control space bar. Which one?
control space. Dependency check.
Now go to the remove all this, remove the value, go to equal to, and see it will give you the values. So now what do you want to make it mandatory to provide? So if I say provide the simple, so you have to compulsory provide the simple. So you have to compulsory provide registration number, compulsory provide manufacturer name, compulsory provide model number, and year of launching and owner history, which is an array, correct? Now, is it mandatory for me to provide these values? Is it mandatory for me to provide these values?
No, no, sir, because we
Insurance vendors, Bollywood.
no.
Yes or no?
No, sir,
Why no?
because we didn't apply the dependency check
Because they are
over
from engine onward till the end. They are all what?
Objective.
Objects. And what have I given as a what have I given as a dependency check? Simple.
Simple.
So it is compulsory for me to provide the value for each primitive. And it is optional for me to provide value for the.
non-primitive object data.
So now if I do control shift and I comment this much, okay, control shift / I comment this much. The color has changed, correct? Color has changed, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now if I run, it will not give me any values for those. So I hope it doesn't throw an error. So while displaying the engine, I hope it doesn't throw any error, null pointer. I hope it doesn't throw null pointer exception. Okay.
Yes, sir.
These all are null, correct?
Null.
Yes.
I've got the values from till here. Rest all are null. Okay, now if I try to use simple and I try to comment any of the simple attribute also, if I try to comment model number, what do you think will happen? If I comment this, now what will happen?
All value except model number.
No, it will throw an error.
Error, yes, sir, because we apply
I
here
value
dependency
for all
check.
the primitives.
Okay.
Yes, sir, simple.
I have promised I will give value for all primitive and I have missed one primitive, right?
Yes.
So it will throw
So
an error.
it will show you error. Yes, sir.
So let's check, just confirm that. Run and Java application. Error, got the
Yes.
error? And
Sir,
what is telling
is
unsatisfied dependency for which? C1.
C1
Okay, unsatisfied through which part?
model number. Yes,
That
sir.
is what we commented, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Sir. Yeah, sir.
Right? Model number.
Right, sir.
So I'll have to uncomment it and it will now run. Okay, now if I comment the year of establishment, control shift and the / which has a question mark along with it on the keyboard. Now what is the error you are expecting? So guys, be in a habit of reading the error and troubleshooting your program. So development is 10% programming and 90% troubleshooting. When you will go in the industry, there will be many times that the program is ready-made. The previous developers has made the program. But now your boss will tell, okay, there is some error coming in that program. Please debug that program. So you will have to now check the error. So you have to read the error logs and then make the changes accordingly. So now what type of error will this throw?
Unsatisfied dependency express through bin property model number.
Right? And which
Yes.
property? Which property? Now I've commented year of establishment.
Yes, YO, YOL.
Okay, so now let's run and check that. So if you can decode the errors, then you are a developer. So now you will go to the first line of the error, and you say that C1 being is not
C1,
because it has an undependency check of which property?
YOL.
YOL, right?
Yes,
Getting it?
sir. Yes, sir.
So now I uncomment it. Okay, now if I want to make it mandatory for the non-primitives to be provided and optional for the primitives, so I will say dependency check equals to
Object,
object. You see over here?
object. Yes, sir.
So I will then reverse it. Now what will I comment?
Simple one.
Simple, I will comment it. Control shift.
Yes.
And what will I uncomment?
Object.
Control shift. Oh my god. Doesn't uncomment over. I have to go and manually uncomment it. Okay. So I remove this and I remove this. Okay. So now all my non-primitives have a value, and it is optional for me to whether I give or not to the primitives.
Not
Yes.
closed.
So now if I run this code,
Comment line, sir. Comment not closed, sir. Last line.
if comment was not closed, it would have shown me a red line over here. Which
It
what are
will-
you talking about, ma'am?
Which
will-
shows sir, comment is closed.
Yeah, it's comment. I want to comment only till here, no?
Okay, right, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So if
You
there is
can
an
s-
error, look at this bar. Besides the scroll bar, look at this bar. It will be
It
shown
will showing red error. Yes.
Yes, sir.
There is no red means there is no syntactical error.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Yes,
all
sir.
these are giving the default what Java gives, and my having one. Now if I want to make it mandatory, I should give value for both. Now
And
if I want to give value for, it is compulsory. You have to give value for both. Now
simple and object.
So
We
we
have to
check
check though
the
both of them. All.
default, sir.
which one?
Okay.
All.
Okay.
Yes,
Default.
sir.
All.
Okay.
Give for use all.
Yes, sir.
So when we use a default, then
Sir, we'll
answer is
come
what?
to that
Default
topic.
is all. Okay, so now I remove both. Now my
All means all.
default means all. See, it is mentioning over here, no? It is mentioning over here. When you check the equal to, no? If you read all, take the mouse over the all. And it is the default. You see the third value? Okay. So if you use all, now you have to give values to double quotes. Always give the value in double quotes. Value in. Okay, that is just select it. No, just select it. And now I have to remove all the uncomments and run. Okay. So one attribute, what did we study today? One more, which is that
Dependency check.
dependency check. You're getting the logic now, right? Okay. Yes, guys.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
can you show sir default, sir? Please one time.
If you want
If we
to-
write here a default in place of all.
So if you say default dependency
Yes,
check,
sir.
default, then none objects, then see what happens. Default and checks. Now I have given for all of them. Okay, I have given for all of the values I have given. Okay. Just explore around with what is default. So I have given you all, I have given you all object, and I have given you a simple. Okay. Now one very
So it
important
gives
feature
the
of string bean
all
is,
answered, na sir?
yeah, just
Simple as well as object also.
yeah, just Google this and check what default does. Okay. This is all. This is what I have done over here is all, because I have removed.
Sir, in case of check, sir, in case of check, when we comment object one, then sir, what is the use of फिर sir check? क्योंकि दोनों होने चाहिए ना sir, तो automatically ले.
I showed you what is simple. I showed you what is object, and I showed you what is all. Right? These three are understood. What is simple? What is object? What is all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I
So
got
just
it.
explore default. Try to use default and uncomment a simple and check whether default is working. Try to use default and comment a object and see what it is doing, how it is behaving. Try to explore that. Now, most important thing now here is, now we will use is auto wire. What will we use? So here what is happening is, whenever I want an engine, I have to give the reference that I want this engine, correct? So now if I come over here and if I say one more attribute is auto wire, what is it? You see?
Auto wire.
Okay. And now you can auto wire by ID, or you can auto wire by name, by type or by name. Okay. Let me first check by type. So what am I using auto wire by? What am I using auto wire by?
Type.
Type.
So now in auto wire by type, no need to give the references. No need to give the
References.
references. Now, am I giving any reference?
No, sir.
So it will automatically go and search for the eligible candidates. So how many eligible candidates do I have for engine?
Engine we have.
I see.
Two, right?
Sir.
I have two eligible candidates. I can inject
Yes, sir.
any-
And
E1 and
How many
E2.
eligible candidates do I
Okay.
have for gear?
Only one.
So gear is sorted, okay? Gear is
Yes.
sorted. That when I say auto wire,
Yes.
auto wire, so whatever referencing is there will be fetched
Yeah.
from this config file. So it will
Okay.
fetch me this gear object automatically, because there is only one single eligible object for gear, but there are two eligible objects for engine. So which engine will it use? So this will lead to an error. This will lead to an,
Error.
and that error will be there are more than one eligible candidate. See, when I say auto wire, no, when I say auto wire, I am telling that I will not give the referencing. From this bean class, you please pick the reference for engine and you please pick the reference for gear. Now for gear, we have only one single object, correct? So there is no ambiguity, no confusion. But for engine, I have two configurations. So which engine to use? So there are two eligible objects. So this will throw an error. So if I run this code, it will throw me an error that I have two engines. See, error come. Now just read the error message. What it says, error creating bean with car1, unsatisfied dependency through engine. And what it
There are
says,
two beans of type.
there are two beans,
Yes, sir.
auto
Two
wiring.
beans.
So exactly what you want. So I will say I
Hmm.
want E1. I want what?
E1.
So I will make E2 as auto wire candidate false. I will make E1 as,
False.
is this
Okay.
auto wire candidate?
No.
So now which is the only option I have?
E1.
E1. So now whenever it will create my car class, am I giving any references?
No, sir.
References are commented, right?
No. Commented.
So
Yes.
from where will it get the engine and gear? From
Auto
this
wire.
file, it will just auto wire from the eligible candidates. So how many eligible candidates for engine now?
Only one E1.
And how many eligible candidates for gear?
Only one G1. It is.
Getting it?
Yes,
Auto
sir.
wire.
So
Now-
can you
now
show
I
the
right
that
click.
line, sir? How to write?
So now
Can
I
you-
right click and run. Now this error
Okay.
will be solved, and I will get my
Output.
engine as E1 and gear as E2. So which is the
Yes,
E1
sir.
engine? Which is the E1 engine? Gear, so there is only one, right? Manual
Yes.
25,000. Manual 25,000 and this. And engine,
Engine type IV Tech.
IV Tech 12 and 5,000, right?
Yes, sir.
So now if I want to use this E2 engine now always, so what will I do now?
First one false. E1 false.
And now if I run, what will be my engine now? Okay, so now you will see the engine has changed to DTSI capacity 18,800. Is this understood, guys? What is, or this is the most widely used auto wiring. So this is auto wire by what? Auto wire by
Reference.
type. Auto
By
wire by
type.
type. And you can also use auto wire by name also. Auto wire by
Name.
So auto wire by name, what it will do is, what have I named in my car, what have I named my engine and gear objects as? Let's say I named them as my engine and my gear. What have I named them as?
My engine, my gear.
So I'll remove the setters and then make new setters. Okay, I'll make the new setters so that there is no confusion. So I go to source, generate setters, getters, and my engine generate the setter, and my gear setter. Okay. And now also in your toString, I'll generate a fresh toString. Whenever you make changes, just generate the fresh toStrings. Understood? So now what is the name of my engine and what is the name of my yes guys? Tell me.
My engine in my car, na?
My engine and
My car.
my car, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now what I will do is just make the bean ID as this. Bean ID as, so whichever ID has ID is my engine, it will take that ID. So let me give this ID as what? And let me give this ID as what? So now what is my car taking auto wiring by what? Auto wiring by
By name.
name. So it will now go and pick what names have I given to my engine and car? What names have I given to my engine and my car in the car class? What is the object name for engine in my car class?
My engine and my
What is
gears.
the object name for gear? My gear, correct? So it will go and search for the beans by that name over here. So is there any engine by my engine? This one, right?
Yes,
Is
my
there any
engine.
engine by my gear? So it will pick those. It will pick those. So that is telling auto wire by name. Auto wire by name. So I will go and run this application and check whether is the program executing or not. And it is executing. Perfect. Understood, guys? So who's understood all these terms with regards to just Spring Core? All things has been covered in today's session about.
These terms.
So all the configuration is done in the bean file, and you just have to use your IOC container and make the objects. And so this was which IOC container? So which IOC container?
4 1.
I want to use the G2EE container, what to do? If I want to use the G2EE container, what changes do I have to make? So if I don't want to use this, okay, I'll comment this out. Then for the core container, which is the class for the G2EE container, class path XML application context, right? And that will take the resource as a string, not as a resource, correct? Correct, we can pass the config file as a string argument. And then the parent of that is application context. What is the parent? So now you can make a factory by this. Whatever name you want to give, factory or new factory, whatever. Import this Control Shift O, semicolon, right? What happened? New, make an object of it. And now using this factory, if I want to make a car object there, what will I tell? New factory, correct? And car imported. New factory dot bean C1 and car and this. So this is your core container. This is your J2E container. Right click, run as Java application, and rest remains the same. Okay, getting it, guys? Yes or no? Anybody who still confused? Okay, then the bean, no, they also have a scope. Okay, so the bean, no, they also have a scope. Let's say if I take the gear class. Okay, let's say if I take the gear class, and if I make a bean of this, has this much sunk into you all, or this is too much for today?
I think this is sufficient for
So I guess
Sufficient, yes.
for today. There is only one attribute left. It is called as scope. Okay, so scope is of two types: singleton and prototype. What is the scope? Scope attribute has two values. What are the two values for scope?
Sing-
Singleton
Single.
and prototype. Okay, singleton means only one single object will be made for that class, and all the reference which are created, they all will point to that one object only. So if I have a object of gear and I have G1, G2, G3, okay, these are all the references which I make in the main class, gear G1 equals to gear and factory dot get bean. Okay, and whatever name is your, whatever name of the bean you have. Let's say if your bean name also is G1. So we can change the reference name now. So now how many references are pointing? How many references do I have now?
3.
3, and they all are pointing to this gear object.
Yes.
Okay, so if I have a singleton scope, all the reference will point to the same object only. New object will not be created for each request. New object will not be created for each request. All the objects will point to the same address only. So now if I say gear 1 equal to gear 2, what is the answer? True or false?
True.
Because equal does a reference comparison. And when I say scope equals to prototype, scope equals to what? This was scope equal to singleton, right? When I say prototype, and when I say this same thing, then what it does, it makes 3 different objects. It makes 3 different objects, and each reference is given to point to each object exclusively. So 3 objects are created at 3 addresses, and first is pointing by gear 1 reference, second is pointing to gear 2 reference, and third is being pointed by gear 3. Understood this? What is the meaning of scope and prototype? Okay, I'll just give you a small demo of it so you all will understand. Let's make a new class and make a class called music system. Okay, in that same simple. Okay. And let's give simple attributes: integer music system number and string music system manufacturer. Okay, let's say brand. and double the cost and make it private. So I'll just explain you what is prototype and private and private. Okay. Now let's use setter. I prefer setter. So source, generate setters, select setters and generate. And now let's have a toString also. Okay. Now if I have a constructor for this, let's say, if I have a constructor for this, well, I make a constructor for this like this, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
I'm just displaying constructor invoke. So how many time is the constructor? When is the constructor invoked? Constructor is invoked at the time of object creation, right?
Yes, sir.
At the time of
Object creation.
correct.
Yes.
When is the constructor invoked? Constructor is invoked.
At the time of object creation.
So okay, so I have this message which is just displaying constructor invoked. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And now I want to make a bean of it. So will I make a bean of it? Tell me, guys. What is the class name? Okay, all good. And I am giving scope equals to what? Okay, you can just scope equals to. So once you have the scope, remove the equal to, that will give you the options. Control space bar. Not giving the options. Okay. Scope equals to, we have singleton. What we have? So what is the scope for this? I've given. What is the scope I've given for this?
Single object will be created.
Single object will be created, right? So how many times will the constructor be called now? How many times will the constructor will be called for this? Constructor is called at the time of object creation. Yes or no?
So it will
Yes,
be
sir.
How many times will the constructor will be called for this?
once because only one object.
Right? So what is it? MS number and brand and cost. MS number and value 111. Brand and what happened? Why is this acting funny? Property brand, then value board. Okay, I forgot to add this. Okay, and MSNO brand and cost. MSNO brand and cost. Okay. Now, if I come to my driver app and make a bean of MS1, it will be of what type? It will be of what type? Yes, guys. So when an object is created, what is called constructor is called, right? So how many times will the constructor be called over here? How many objects have I made? How many objects have I made?
One object, sir.
Okay, why is it causing a problem? See, it is saying constructor invoked, right? But why is it causing a problem? It says MS7 defined class. Okay, type was int or what? What is the type of cost?
Double.
Double. And what have I given cost as?
Integers type. Like, sir, integer can
Yeah, integer can have.
convert it into a double also.
Yeah,
no?
yes, you can have.
Then
Fail to convert property string to int. Right? MSNO. MSNO is what type?
MSNO is an integer type, sir.
Integer, right?
Right, sir. And what you write here is
And MSNO I have given as type integer. Method must not be null.
so where you write it null, sir, you also substitute the values
I use
everywhere.
one over here. So in my music system class, I have integer MSNO string double, and we are okay. We are not using setters. Why am I doing getters always? I don't understand. And while I'm choosing setters, see, I go and choose select setters and generate. Okay. Got it?
Yeah.
Are we displaying the object?
But sir, the last one shows the reference number, na sir?
Yeah, so we are not given,
Model dot.
we have not given the toString, that's why. We have not given the toString. You want to remove, if you want to display the actual content, then override toString.
Source and generator. So two string.
Okay. So how many times was the constructor invoked? Once, right? Because I had one object. And what is the scope of this? Singleton. So if I now make one more object, if I go and make one more object,
The prototype.
if I make one more object, this was, let's say, MS1 and MS2. Now, how many times will the constructor be invoked? How many times will the constructor be invoked? Is a new object being created, or that same object a new reference is pointing to?
There is
The
two
singleton,
object create here.
New object
The
the new
MS1
object
or
being
MS2.
created, or both MS1 and MS2 are pointing to the same object.
MS1, yes, sir.
Pointing
It's
to
for
the
a
Object being created, or
singleton.
MS1 and MS2 are pointing to the same object. What is happening? I'm asking.
Singleton.
Yeah, so is it
Scope.
creating a new object like this? And then MS2 is pointing to it? Or is it one object is created and MS1 and MS2 both are pointing to the same object? What is happening in singleton? So will a new object be created is my question. By new object, I mean new rectangle. I mean new rectangle. Will this new rectangle be created?
in singleton, it's not.
Not. So will the constructor will be called again? Constructor is only called when the rectangle is created. So how many times rectangle were created in singleton?
Single time.
So, but now I have made two references. So will it call the constructor twice, only once?
No.
So this will only come once. This will only come
Once.
once. And if you want, you can just differentiate first music system MS1. Oh, sorry, not over here. This while displaying. First music system MS1 and second music system, but they are both pointing to the same object. New object is not created. So if you run this code, you will see constructor invoked only once, right? So now if I display ms1 equal to ms2, output true or false? Okay, my ms.
It's
or
true.
false? Huh?
True.
True, because they both are pointing to the same object, right? Both references are pointing to the
Same object. It's comparing here.
okay. And now if I make the scope as prototypes, scope as what? So now a new object will be created for each get bean.
Correct.
So a new object will be created for ms1 and new object will get by ms2 also. Now what will it show? True or false? Now a fresh object will be created for both of them. One object will be created for ms1 at address 1000 and one object will be created for ms2 at address 2000. So now are the addresses same, equal to just address comparison? Yes or no?
No.
Is it same?
No.
So now
Same.
what will it tell? True or false?
Different objects with different address.
And how many times will the constructor be called now?
2 times.
2 times. Very good. Now just check it. For each object it will be called once. Okay, constructor invoke
First
First-
invoke.
second false. Got it?
Yes.
Understood?
Yes, understood.
Okay, then practice this much. Meanwhile, see you all tomorrow. I will begin class tomorrow. I have a holiday tomorrow. So we can compensate for the loss.
We have class on Friday now.
Okay, I'll talk to Shasha Kibera. Okay.
Okay.